Rev up your engines!
Here's an interesting post that someone put up. That's another dead 2024 Toyota Tundra. Owners are selling before the warranty expires. If you follow any of this stuff, Toyota decided, we don't want to make V8 engines in the Tundra. It's extremely dependable. They can go 400,000 or 500,000 trouble-free miles and replace them with a twin turbocharged V6. I said it was a stupid idea before they even started selling them because I said, the engines will wear out faster. Even I, though, didn't expect them to wear out this fast. Some of these things are wearing out before they're even a year old. Toyota says they're recalling 2022 and 2023 Tundras, and they plan to replace 100,000 Tundra engines. Now, what people plan and what they do is another story. I have yet to see anybody who had an engine replaced myself to see how the process is going. Is it smoothly, or is it just a line of baloney like most of these companies? A lot of them, they say they're going to replace them. You bring your truck in, and if it's not banging or clanging, they'll just say, it's not making a noise. Nothing wrong with it yet. Wait until it blows up, right? When they said they were going to replace 100,000 engines, it really got me scratching my head because I thought, are they really going to do this? And is it just the 2022 and 23? Because some people are saying the 2024s have problems too. As Michael Bordenarno says, that's another dead Tundra, 2024. And that was the 2024. That's not the ones they're covering. Obviously, they're having engine problems. You never used to see this. And then one owner called Chris said, my blown engine nightmare continues. The Toyota dealership rebuilt my engine in 20 days. When I went to pick it up, every piece on the front end was scratched on and obviously dragged over the shop floor. So he took it back, and they did put a new grill on. Then when he got the truck back, he saw they broke the volume knob on the radio off. And Chris says, how am I supposed to trust these people to rebuild my engine when they do that kind of work? So he says, it sounds like Toyota's rushing the truck back to avoid having the shop for 30 days to avoid a buyback. Because in my state, it's a lemon if it's in the shop for 30 days for the same issue. They'd have to buy the truck back then. So they got to fix them within 30 days, and they're rushing. And if they really have 100,000 they got to replace, it's going to be a mess. And here's the funny thing. A report from Automotive News says that Toyota's budgeting shows that the cost per vehicle will be between $3,000 to $5,000. Okay? Toyota's not giving any figures, but that's insanity. $3,000 to $5,000 to replace an engine. You can't do that. It costs more than that, right? Now, if they're taking them apart and fixing them, do you want a Toyota engine that was built wrong and it broke? And all they're doing is taking it apart and theoretically, in quotes, fixing it? Because some of the things that they say is that the engine bearings are going because there's metal fragments in the engine. Metal fragments are going to damage the entire engine, the valves, the cams, everything, and just rebuild it isn't going to fix the problem. They would have to put new engines in. It's going to cost more than $3,000 to put a new engine in a Toyota. That is just BS. Call a Toyota dealer and ask what they cost to replace an engine, say, on another truck, not the recalled ones. You're going to see it's a lot more than $3,000. I did it, and I got quotes between $6,500 and $10,000. So this whole thing smells of something. Now, Toyota itself says, and I quote, it's going to supply nearly complete engine assemblies, nearly complete, including turbochargers, pulleys, tensioners, to its dealers to save technicians time in the replacement project. Nearly complete engine. You bought a new vehicle for $60,000 to $80,000, and they're giving you nearly complete. I would want everything brand new. Right? So, it looked to me like Toyota's hedging it here. Now, Toyota says they're going to pay for loaner trucks. So you get a free loaner truck here. Let's see where they're going to get all these trucks, these loaner trucks. Until what kind of trucks are they going to be? So, it's a big stink for Toyota, and it's really giving them an odor that they didn't used to have. They better clear this up correctly, because if they don't, they're going to lose a lot of sales. Already there's companies out there saying Toyota's not number one anymore. Subaru's better now. They're starting to get a bad taste in people's mouths, and they better get that bad taste out if they want to continue to sell their cars and trucks to people. There's a great one. This woman says, I worked at a GM dealer. I wanted a Toyota 4Runner. They said I have to buy a Chevy Silverado or fire me. Within 24 hours and 82 miles of ownership, it broke down. She must have been watching me get a 4Runner. They run forever, right? So this woman, Catherine, she worked at a dealer, and they said, you got to buy the Silverado. You buy a Toyota, we're going to fire you. So she buys it, and it falls apart. She says, even 24 hours after I bought it, it broke down and was in the shop for 34 days, making it a lemon in Michigan. The dealership then fired me and said it was BS. It was happening in my truck. It broke down. That I owned it. It's my fault. It needed a new wiring harness, had nothing but electrical issues, and the thing was in a shop for 325 days. And in January 2024, I finally won under the lemon law, and they had to buy it back. So I got my money back, but I had to pay for insurance, even though it was in a shop for 325 days, and they wouldn't give her a loaner, so I had to buy a second vehicle. They wouldn't even give her a loan. It's GM for you. What a company, right? So then she goes to buy a new one when she finally gets her money back, right? And listen to this. I tried to get a pre-owned vehicle at the dealership where I work. I was denied. My credit union said, because you have a repossession on your credit. I said, what? He said, yeah, you had your 2022 Silverado repossessed. I said, no, the lemon law bought it. But GM said it was repoed. They recorded my vehicle as a repossession on my credit. So they were mad at her because they had to buy it back, and they said they repoed it, which they didn't. They took it back because it was under the lemon law. What scumbags? That's all I have to say. Stay away from that company. They're scumbags. One, they made her buy a piece of crap and it fell apart. Then they fired her because she wanted her money back under the lemon law. Then when they finally did give her money back, they called it a repossessed, even though it wasn't. Just taking it back under the lemon law. What a bunch of scumbags. Well, Tesla's at it again, bringing in the New Year's and now recalling 239,000 more of their vehicles. This time it's because the rear view cameras don't work. Now, these are supposed to be state-of-the-art electronic vehicles, yet the electronic cameras don't work right. Now, you'd think being an all-electric car, the electric system would be top-notch. Well, obviously, it is not. It just goes on and on. It amazes me that the company is valuated so high. They have all kinds of recalls. They're starting a new year out just as bad as they did the past year, where they had tons of recalls. Doesn't make any sense. There's no correlation between what people are actually doing and what their supposed, in quotes, values are. I mean, they screwed up with a Cybertruck. His robots don't work. Yeah, saying they're worth a ton of money. There's no logic behind the stock market anymore. Buy on rumor and sell on fact. Well, I guess people are still buying on rumors with Tesla. Well, remember how the Europeans said, we're all going to band together and fight the Russians because they invaded Ukraine. We're not going to buy their oil and gas. Talk about a bunch of liars. Because the European imports of liquefied natural gas from Russia are at record levels. Yeah, they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk, baby. Europe bought a record amount of liquefied natural gas from Russia last year, despite their saying they're going to ditch the fossil fuels from Russia. And first they say we're not going to use the fossil fuels, which they're using at record levels, but we're not going to get it from the Russians, which they are. Ship carrying 7.8 million tons of Russian gas docked at European ports in 2024, up by more than 2 million tons from the year before. So they're buying it. Now, of course, why are they buying it? Because it's cheaper. The Russians lowered their price to sell it, and of course, they buy it. That's just how the world works. If people aren't buying your product, what do? You lower the price. And now the Europeans are buying more than ever. Hypocrisy, 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 you know? And a lot of the stuff, I'm sure, went through other people, too. Like the Russians would sell it to somebody else. Who knows? The Portuguese or somebody. And then they turn it and then they sell it to somebody else. They've been doing that stuff for ages. Whenever they had those weapons bans, companies that sold a lot of weapons, they would just sell them to one company, then another company. Then they would go down to Africa where they were supposed to be banned, but they got them anyways. Just they had to pay more because it went through a bunch of different people. Now, in this case, a lot of it's got to be direct because they're Russian ships that are docked in Europe, so they're not even trying to hide it, you know? Just shows what hypocrites the Europeans are. Oh, yes, we're not going to buy it. We'll do it under the table. We'll try not to tell anybody. Well, it's kind of hard to sell 70.8 million tons without somebody figuring out what the heck is going on these days. Well, here we go again with the myth of solid-state batteries. Everybody keeps saying, we got a solid-state battery coming up for electric cars that'll make them electric. Now, it's a big deal if they can ever do it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Because all the ones now have liquid electrolyte. They'll freeze, so they got to heat themselves up in cold weather, and they can start on fire and make a mess. Solid-state ones don't have liquids on them, so they don't have the problem of burning up as much, and they claim they can charge them faster, yada, yada, yada. Now a U.S. firm says solid-state EV battery breakthrough has more energy density, offers longer range. This is a company called Microvast, and their SB technology says allows single cells to even have different voltage, and they're solid-state, la, 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 la. Guess what? This is a pilot program. Microvast is currently transitioning to the pilot production study phase to develop and scale it up. Yeah, in other words, it doesn't exist yet. They're going to make a pilot program where they're going to try to build the things and see if they even work. They're always trying to claim this stuff. You know, we've got this great new thing. No, you don't. Hey, tell us when it's actually out and it works, right? Don't say, well, we're saving the world with these battery technologies. No, you aren't. They haven't built them yet. They've been trying solid-state batteries for decades, and they don't work unless they're tiny ones like the ones they put in pacemakers for people's hearts. The big ones all have failed, right? And now it's another company saying, look, we got a radical breakthrough. Then you read the bottom line. This is a pilot test program that they're working on. Hey, you know what I say? Don't tell us about these things anymore. Please tell us when you have them in cars and they've been tested out for millions of miles to see if the things actually hold up driving down the road. Stop telling us that, oh yeah, it's a radical game. There's even one battery says, here's a battery that can last for 1,000,000 years. And what's the battery made out of? Diamonds. Oh, well, who can afford that, right? I mean, what a stupid idea that one was. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.